Hi guys. Okay, today we are going to be testing some slugs. We are going to do some expansion testing. I'll see, I made some clay. It's just basically flour, salt and water, just to create a equal medium to shoot into. So we will shoot I think 10, 11, 12 different slugs, and we'll see how they expand. We will just look at the expansion. I'll try to shoot them at the same speed. I got between 21 and 25 grains are the most of them, but there are some heavier ones that I only have heavy in that brand. But we will shoot and we'll see how they do, and we will measure the size of the expansion and everything. So this might be a bit longer video, but let's see. You've seen most of the slugs, how accurate they are in the slug accuracy videos, from 100 to 210 meters, and this will now be a test of the expansion. So let's see how they do. Okay, so we are going to start with the 21 grain Inferno slugs. We are going to shoot them on minimum power and we'll see how fast they go, and then we will adjust the power for the heavier slugs to shoot at roughly the same speed. We are going to single load them, look at the speed, and then look at how the slug mushrooms, how that does, and we will record slow motion and show you all of the stuff, and we'll measure it and we'll compare everything. And yeah, let's get to shooting. Okay, so now we are going to cut open and see what the hole looks like. See how deep it went in. Okay, so it went about, let's quickly measure, it went about, what's that, 89 millimeters, 90 millimeters, around there. And the slug has pretty much mushroomed crazy, I have to say. That's a lot of mushrooming. Okay, next up we have the Inferno 21 grain Rex tip. This one has the little Rex ball that's made for a lot of expansion. So let's see how this little slug does. Okay, now let's see how the Rex tips did. Okay, well, it's in pieces. Here is the ball. Here is a piece of slug. There is, well, I don't know if you can call that a slug, but yeah, this is what's left. It's expanded like crazy. Okay. And let's check how deep it went in. It went about, what's that? It's 126 millimeters, so it's a bit further than the normal one. Okay, next is the 21 grain NSA Nielsen slug. We will now shoot them and see how they mushroom. 9. Let's see what the Nielsen specialty ammo did. Okay, so let's measure that. I can just get the vernier. That is about 131 millimeters, 131 millimeters. That went in. Let's see what the slug looks like. Pretty mushroomed. That is, yeah, that's a nice mushroom, and nothing broke off. Now it's the turn of the 21 grain T3 slugs. This is also a South African slug, so let's see how they do. T3 21 grain slugs, 930 feet per second. Okay, let's cut and see. Try not to cut my fingers off. Okay, so there that one is. So let's get to measuring. One went in about 34 millimeters, 35 millimeters, around there. Okay, and that one also pretty much mushroomed to the back. Now we have the 21 grain Hnn slug. This is what I mostly shoot with, well, the 25s, but we will see how they mushroom. 21 Hnn, 930 feet per second. Okay, let's see how the little 21 Hnns did. Okay, so the Hnns were 155 millimeters roughly, and they also completely mushroomed. They look beautiful. Now we are going to test the Thor slugs, also 21 grain, also South African slug. Let's see how they do. Thor 21 grain slugs, 940 feet per second. Okay, now we're going to see how the Thor did. Okay, well, let's measure the Thor. That was 95 millimeters, so that's pretty good. The slug is not the most accurate, but it seems that it does well mushroom quite nicely. Okay, now we are going to shoot the FX Hybrid Slugs. These are a bit heavier now, these are 22 grain, but we will still shoot on low power. The speed should be roughly the same. There's still a couple of 22 grain slugs, and then we are going to move heavier, then we will up the power a bit. So let's see how these FX Hybrid Slugs do. FX 22 grain slugs. Yeah, okay. Second, so let's just see how they did. Yeah, and it went about 117 millimeters, and it also mushroomed out very, very nicely. Next is another South African slug. It is the Unknown Slug, 22 grain, so we will see how they do. 22 grain Unknown Slugs, 913 feet per second. Okay, let's see how the Unknown Slugs did. Okay, well, they seem to have stopped quite quite shallow. That's 100 mils, so that's pretty good. Let's see what the mushroom looks like. And it is pretty flat and has mushroomed completely. Now it is the turn of the Zan Slugs. These are 23 grain. Let's see how they do. 23 grain Zan Slugs. 900 feet per second. Okay, let's see what the Zan Slugs did. It's a pretty big hole there at the front. Here is the Zan Slugs. Let's take a measure. That is 103 millimeters, so that's pretty good. And if we look at the expansion, the core almost came out. There you see, that is completely mushroomed, that's almost inverted. So that is very good. Now we are going to test another South African slug. It is the Javelin in 23 grain. Let's see how they mushroom. 23 grain Javelin slugs. Okay, let's see what the Javelin slugs did. Okay, there we have the Javelin slug. It went in about 97 millimeters, so that is very good. And let's see how it mushroomed. It also basically almost ripped itself apart, completely mushroomed backwards, so that's also pretty good. Next we have the G2 slugs, 23 grain. Let's load it and see how it mushrooms. 23 grain G2. Okay, let's see what the G2 slugs did. Okay, there we have the G2 slugs. They did, it seems like, leave a bit of metal, break up a bit, so that's good. Almost like the Rex tips of the Inferno. You can see it mushroomed pretty nicely. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. Okay, I forgot to measure. Let's just measure and see. That was around 152 millimeters that went in. Okay, now we are moving up to a bit heavier. 25 grain slugs. These are the knockout slugs from JSB. I put it now on power level 3 and we will see how they do. Yeah, let's see how they mushroom. Okay, JSB 25 grain. $890 feet per second. Okay, let's see what the JSBs did. Okay, so the JSBs, let's measure them quickly. They went about 118 millimeters, almost 120 millimeters. Let's see how they mushroomed. It's a pretty nice flower there. So that mushroomed pretty nicely. Okay, these are now the SpotOn slugs. These are the last slugs that I'm going to test. They are 26 grain. They are very cheap. They are 140 Rand here by us, against most of the other ones that start at 200. And these are, just want to see about the quantity. These are 175 pieces. So maybe the price is almost the same, but these do not have a hollow point. These are the only ones that I'm going to shoot today that don't have a hollow point. But these are crazy accurate, as we've seen on the accuracy videos. So let's see if they mushroom any. Okay, 26 grain SpotOn slug. Yes. 950 feet per second. Okay, so the slug went straight through. So I'll see if I can make the clay a bit longer, and we'll try again. Hopefully we can catch it. So I don't think it mushroomed much. Okay, 952 SpotOn slugs. Okay, let's see what the SpotOn slug did. It did not pass through this time. So let's start cutting. We'll try and find it. Cut through there. Open it up, open it up. Okay, well there we have the SpotOn slug. It did mushroom a wee little bit, maybe, but it's not going to be measurable. The point just dented in. Okay, so the slugs all did pretty well. They all mushroomed, except the SpotOn slug. It did not mushroom. It only flattened a bit at the on its front. So if we measure that one, it is still 5.29, so not even 5.5. Let's just see if the vernier, yeah. So that is basically 5.3. It doesn't seem to have mushroomed any. Okay, so let's start at the slugs that did mushroom. We will start with the Inferno. This is the 21 grain Inferno, and it mushroomed out to about 11.4 millimeters. That's pretty good. I will put it on screen here, all the sizes. I will take some pictures and everything and put it up and try and make it that you can see all the differences. And then we have the Rex. It basically doesn't it can't be measured because, well, I can try and measure it. The widest there is 10.85, but it is basically in fragments, so that's insanely good. Okay, then we move on, let's just put that on there, to the NSA slug, the 21 grain NSA. That was 8.57 millimeters, 8.56, so that's a pretty good mushroom. That looks good. Then we have the 21 grain T3 slugs. They mushroomed 9.1 millimeters roughly, and they also completely folded over, so that is pretty cool. Then we had the 21 grain Hnn slugs. They are, let me just see, they are 7.59 millimeters, so they also mushroomed quite well. That's nice. Then we have the Thor slugs. Very inaccurate slug, but it when it hits, it seems like it does mushroom. 11.5 millimeters with a nice round hole in the middle. And then we have the FX slugs. They also mushroomed very nicely, I have to say. Also folded over a bit. That is, let's see, where's the widest part? About 9.4, 9.39 millimeters. So that is good. Folded over. Then we have the unknown slugs. Here we have them. They mushroomed about 9.8 millimeters, 9.81. So that's also good. Very flat. Then we have the Zan Slugs, 23 grain. They almost went through their own, I don't know, mushrooming basically. So let's see if we can get a measurement of them. Wow, that opened up to 11.64 millimeters. So that is that's a crazy expansion. Also almost folded over backwards. Then we have the Javelin slug, 23 grain. Also almost went through itself. Let's see. That is around 11.83 millimeters. So that's also a very good expansion. Also almost ripped itself apart. So that's good. Then we have the G2 slugs. They mushroomed quite nicely, nice and flat. If we can take a measurement of them, that is around 8.37 millimeters, so that's good. And then we have the JSB 25 grains. Oh, sorry, the JSB 25 grains. They also look like a very nice little mushroom, I have to say. They are 9.67 millimeters. So all of the slugs except for the spot-ons, these were very accurate, but they do not mushroom very well. But if you have a harder pest that you want to shoot, this might be able to pierce a tough hide and mushroom a bit more. The clay that I used is quite soft, so if you have a harder exterior, like a porcupine or something, I think these will do quite well because they are very hard skin. So it should penetrate nice and then open up, create a wound channel. But if you just want to blow stuff up, the Rexes are just, they blow to pieces. The H&Ns, you've seen all of the stuff pop on the channel with them. The Zans really open up quite nicely. I haven't hunted with them, but we will make a plan. The Javelins also, you've seen them on my channel and on Air Hunters and everything, and they also just blow holes through everything. They explode quite nicely. The G2 slugs, I have tested them also, and I've tested them a whole while back in a hunting situation, and they also do pretty well. And the JSBs, they also mushroomed quite nicely. A lot of different slugs that I tested today, only focusing on the expansion of the slug. I didn't look too much at the wound cavity or anything. I will look at that if you are interested. I will compare everything again, but I will make a plan to get a different type of clay that will keep the wound channel a bit better. Clay is expensive, so I just made my own type of child play clay just to test the expansion. And from what we can see with all of this is that these slugs expand, they drop a lot of energy. Well, compared to a pellet that is in a different league, these slugs. So I'm pretty happy. If there's anything else that you would like to know about these slugs, you can just leave a comment. I will test whatever you guys want to see. I will still make a plan to test the 25 grain JSB slugs against the pellets. There is still a few tests that I want to do, but if you guys have something specific that you want to see, you can just leave them in the comments. That's basically that. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. And yeah, safe shooting, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.